One Zambia, One Nation, thank you so much for joining us on the news desk. My name is Amos Zulu. Let us take a look at the top stories. Gender Equality and Women's Participation Initiative launched. Kasama traders start receiving marketeer booster loans. Ministry of Health to hold annual conference on virus-related diseases. And Chibombo Council sets aside funds for Boho at Shifwankule Health Center. And now the news in detail. President Hakainde Hichilema has said that government attaches great importance to the fight against corruption, which he says retards economic development for the country. President Hichilema says his administration has made serious strides in domesticating some of the United Nations UN provisions of the convention aimed at stamping out corruption in the country. President Hichilema said this in a speech read for him by Justice Minister Mulambo Haimbe at this year's International Anti-Corruption Commemoration Day in Lusaka. He explained that the Zambian Law on Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act addresses the concerns of ill-gotten wealth. He noted that the manifestation of corruption have devastating effects where public resources are diverted into pockets of corrupt individuals. President Hichilema added that from the time his government assumed power, it has declared war against corruption and zero tolerance towards the vice. And Anti-Corruption Commission Board Chairperson Musa Mwenye said the recovery unit has been created at the Anti-Corruption Commission to speed up the recovery of public property, adding that the unit is proving effective in getting back ill-gotten property. Meanwhile, the United Nations Resident Coordinator Beatrice Mutali said the global surge in corruption has continued to ravage communities and must be stamped out of the country completely. Government leaders and stakeholders attending the African Union AU high-level meeting on nutrition in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, have unanimously adopted the Abidjan Declaration of 8th December 2022. Vice President of Côte d'Ivoire, Tiamoko Meilet Kon, says member states are satisfied with the strategic content on nutrition provided on the agenda. Mr. Kon says the deliberations of the meeting demonstrated the need for the continent to optimize and harness resources in order to navigate the challenges that member states are currently facing. And Vice President Mutalina Lumango is also in attendance at the high-level meeting, which is being held under the theme Strengthening Resilience in Nutrition and Food Security on the African Continent, Strengthening Agri-Food Systems, Health and Social Protection Systems for the Acceleration of the Development of Human, Social and Economic Capital. Wupe Sendwe now reports.
Because of its negative effects on the development of human capital and productivity, hunger and malnutrition have been said to represent a major obstacle to the economic and social development of the African continent. In light of this, the Assembly of Leaders of Governments and Heads of States who met in Abidjan at the high-level meeting on the African theme of the year, nutrition, unanimously adopted the Abidjan Declaration.
End of our meeting, I am pleased that the Abidjan Declaration has been adopted, and kindly give a round of applause in acquiescence. Thank you very much indeed. It is a call to action, as you suggested, Mr. Chairperson, and a critical contribution that has set the foundation for bolstering nutrition and food security in African countries. And this would be a standard framework for concerted and structured action to ensure progress in waging a war against all forms of malnutrition.
African Union Commission Chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat said the declaration is a call to action for member states to accelerate investment, implementation, and the coordination to scale up nutrition and food security for Africa.
There's a shortage of quantity, let alone of quality of food. There are also many in the continent who do not eat well. Probably they may have the quantity, but the quality is lacking. There are a few privileged persons, and we are amongst those ones who can eat to their fill and probably have nutritious food, balanced, safe, and nutritious food. So we need to act, and we need to act now.
Meanwhile, AU Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, Minata Samate, provided the content of the draft declaration of Abidjan.
This was a consistent pattern in yesterday's and today's discussions, focusing on the youth, women, children, elderly persons, persons with disabilities, and vulnerable persons.
Zambia was represented at the high-level meeting which closed yesterday by Vice President Mutalena Lumango. It is hoped that Africa uses the available means to address the food crisis on the continent. Bupe Sendwe reporting in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire.
And in a related development, Minister of Agriculture Mtolo Piri says government is determined to achieve sustainable agriculture production as a way to reducing poverty and ending hunger by 2030. Mr. Piri says this can be achieved through the implementation of cost-effective, nature-based solutions such as agroforestry. He said this in a speech read for him by Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Mutyambe during the launch of the Sustainable Development Goals Center for Africa Agroforestry Tree Planting in Masuku Camp in Choma District.
The negative effect of climate change on the agriculture sector continues to threaten national food security. Poor farming methods of cutting down trees for agricultural purposes make crop production even lower as soil fertility gets eroded. An agroforestry initiative has since been launched in Choma to promote the culture of tree planting among farmers. The Sustainable Development Goals Center for Africa, SDGCA, is the lead organization.
This project is a 5-year project. In Choma, over 400 farmer-raised nurseries have been set up, where we are seeing each farmer is raising at least 750 seedlings of leguminous tree. The involvement of smallholder farmers in agroforestry will build a moment for climate action and ensure that no one is left behind.
For government, the program is in line with its goal of boosting food security through sustainable agriculture.
The agroforestry tree planting initiative is well aligned to the New Dawn government's plans that are under implementation and are targeted at improving smallholder farmers' productivity and resilience. Our goal is to achieve sustainable agricultural production, poverty reduction, and zero hunger by 2030.
Small-scale farmers in the area have welcomed the initiative.
The land here in Masuku is degraded. We rely on these trees you've brought us to restore it.
I urge my fellow farmers not to relent in this project so that we can restore our land.
SDGCA has trained over 400 small-scale farmers in agroforestry in Choma. Runia Sakala, Zanis, Choma.
Government says the Gender Equality and Women's Participation Initiative launched by the United Nations, UN, and the Irish government will support the current administration's quest to address stakeholder coordination gaps in the gender sector. The United Nations and the Zambian government have launched the initiative meant to enhance efforts toward fighting gender inequalities in the country. And Division Permanent Secretary Mainga Kabika says the initiative will also support government to participate and incorporate the international mandated platforms and instruments. And UN Resident Coordinator Beatrice Mutali says the initiative marks another step towards contributing to achieving sustainable development goals, goal number 5 on gender equality and the empowerment of all women. Irish ambassador to Zambia, Bronag Carr, says the initiative will promote women participation and gender equality by building stronger data and evidence on the reality of women's lives. One of the stories making headlines in our news, traders in Kasama district have started receiving funds under the Marketeers Booster Loans Facility, which the Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission, CEEC, is disbursing. And Chikumanino Market Chairperson Elias Chimba has confirmed that about 80% of traders at the facility who applied for the loans have since received the funds. Here's a report.
Government has introduced the Marketeers Booster Loans to help traders have access to cheaper loans. The Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission, CEEC, a body which was created to promote broad-based and equitable economic empowerment of citizens, especially those with limited access to finances, has since started disbursing the funds to marketeers. In Kasama, at Chikumanino Market, marketeers who applied for loans under this initiative have started receiving the funds.
Almost 85% of the marketeers have received funds from CEC. I just want to encourage everyone in the market to work extra hard to see to it that the money is repaid in good time and to see to it that their colleagues who have not yet benefited, they also benefit, because this is the desire of the government to empower almost everyone doing business in the market.
And traders at the market have expressed gratitude to government for coming up with this initiative.
Echo kanshinde faya ukuthi tubombeshe ngabana mayo bantu impya batupele shakutu booster ngabana market ero tashikwete interest tulefa kuombesha tubweshe efeshira shinesho twa
EEC Public Relations Manager Michelo Mukata said in a telephone interview that over 3,000 marketeers in the northern province are expected to benefit from the initiative. Tazanga Mumba for Zanis in Kasama district.
The Ministry of Information and Media is set to resume works at the stored Choma Provincial Television Studio as soon as the redesigning of the old slab is done. Information and Media Permanent Secretary Kenneth Kalunga disclosed this in Choma when he toured the stored project shortly after paying a courtesy call on the provincial administration. Mike Munkombwe now reports.
After so many years of being at slab level, the provincial TV studio in Choma, Southern Province, will next year receive attention. Information and Media Permanent Secretary Kenneth Kalunga, who toured the stored project, disclosed that money for construction of the two provincial studios, Choma and Solwezi, has been allocated in the 2023 budget. However, redesigning is needed.
Done. 3 are on 80%, 3 at 100% complete, then 2 at slab level, that is Choma and Solwezi. Now, way forward, my view is DPS is let's replan this so that we build a studio that will be able to accommodate both NBC and Zanis.
That's no, it will be done as soon as possible. That I can assure you.
As a short-term measure, the PS has asked provincial administration to formally allocate the two offices Zanis is using as improvised studios.
You borrowed furniture, I need these things, that these are borrowed furniture. Yes. I'll show Minister that where I went, the borrowed furniture, then the equipment, we have them in the warehouse in Lusaka at Mungu Road. It's better we just make do with the 2 rooms we have here. We start to get, let's improvise a studio, Because we'll be able to do.
The appeal cannot be overemphasized on the need to have a studio, especially that we're having the channel of our own. So we need a studio for recording, we need equipment, we need furniture, and all that comes with a studio.
Mike Munkombwe, Zanis, in Choma District, Southern Province.
Now, Chipata District Chamber of Commerce has welcomed the official commissioning of the Mwami Muchinji one-stop border post. Chamber of Commerce President Richard Kamwendo says the opening of the border post will boost trade between Zambia and Malawi, as well as create employment opportunities for the youth. Here is a report.
Chamber of Commerce has welcomed the official commissioning of the one-stop border post at Chipata and Mchinji. District Chamber of Commerce Chairperson Richard Kumwenda gives projections on the business side.
Very important today because we are opening the border posts where business previously had the challenges. People could not do the business because of the challenges. But now that this facility has opened, it means people will have opportunity to do business for both countries as one-stop border. And so the benefit is that the young people will have an opportunity to find jobs. And also the business will grow, will be able to export to other countries goods which are coming from Zambia, taking them to Malawi and other countries across the world.
Chipata City Mayor George Mwanza is happy with the opening of the one-stop border post between the two neighboring countries.
The city, and as a growing city that is bordering the Republic of Malawi, we are happy with this development, that finally this infrastructure is actually coming to use, because on the economic sense, this means a serious boost on the economic activity of the city, because the one-stop border post is going to enhance speed in terms of clearance and passage of various commodities, including people. And when people are actually traveling at a faster rate, it means business is able to flow at a faster rate.
Zambia High Commissioner to Malawi, Kanel Punch Kaunda, projected the effective business integration and increased employment opportunities for the local citizenry from both countries.
This is a very important day to the two countries, Zambia and Malawi. As you know, our president is focusing on commerce, economies of these countries. The opening of this border will make it easy for our two trading partners to move their goods and business easier. Before this border was constructed, the traders or the truckers used to spend many days on the border. Today, I think less than 24 hours is done. So to enhance the economies of two countries, even the island of Mozambique, East Africa, who use this space road border for their trade.
Sylvester Shimba for Zanis, in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
The Ministry of Health, through the National HIV Technical Working Group and the National AIDS TB STI Council, has announced that it will hold its annual conference on Tuesday, December 13th to Thursday, 15th, 2022. The conference is expected to bring together various stakeholders to share emerging evidence and lessons learned from HIV, TB, COVID-19 and viral hepatitis epidemics in the country. Speaking at a press briefing in Lusaka today, Zambia National Public Health Institute Director General Roma Chilengi observed that the country lost over 4,000 people to COVID-19 since its outbreak, while over 3,000 tested positive to the pandemic. And Ministry of Health Pediatrics HIV Advisor Kozia Ziambo explained that the conference also hopes to raise awareness on viral hepatitis B, which stands at 5.5% in the general population and is more prone to pregnant women. Still in health news, Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo has called for support from stakeholders to strengthen health service delivery systems in the country. Ms. Masebo, who is also a Chongwe Member of Parliament, said this in Kalimasenga when she commissioned a newly constructed health post financed by the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. Here's a report.
These people have braved a distance of over 12 kilometers to the nearest health center to access health services. However, the Lions Club with the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints have partnered with the government to lighten this burden to the people of Kalimansenga in Chongwe district. Minister of Health and Chongwe constituency Member of Parliament said the government will ensure efficient medical and management systems are provided.
I want to, on the onset, to thank the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who have made it possible for us to be here today by way of constructing and completing these health posts, together with its medical equipment and the staff houses, beautiful staff houses that we are commissioning today. Government will take over in terms of staff matters and also commodities, which are medical drugs and the like.
Cooperating partners have pledged to work with the government to develop the country.
This is not the first or the last time that we will be involved in this community. Just because we've handed over or we're handing over this building, please call on us. The headman, we're in touch, the other community leaders, so that we can partner for future projects.
The Lions Club of Charleston will continue to work with the community and the health center staff to expand and provide additional services to the local community, working together for outstanding service.
Chieftainess Nkomesha has expressed gratitude with the relief that the people of Kalimansenga have received.
People used to walk about 12 kilometers from here to have services for health. But now it has become easy for the people who are surrounded here. They are getting the services just nearby. Therefore, Your Honor, I just want to say thank you so much for the cooperation which was shown in our villages, that we managed to work together and achieve the thing that we see in front of us.
Tabiso Sibanda, Zanis, Lusaka.
Still in health news, Chivombo District Council has set aside over 100,000 kwacha under the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, for the provision of water at Shifwankula Rural Health Center, which does not have adequate water supply. Katuwa Member of Parliament Mwabashike Nkulukusa says the health center has been operating without water, making it difficult to carry out normal operations.
For some years now, Shifwankula Rural Health Center in Chivombo District has been operating without a water facility. Health workers at the center rely on the boreholes from the nearby communities. This has affected the operations, especially in the labor ward.
We usually fetch water from our neighbors and put in this drum to use in our labor ward. But at the moment, as you can see, the drum is empty because for the past month, the water table has gone down. So our neighbors are not able to pump water. So we've had this challenge where we go for a week without water. So it's usually a challenge when the water has run out, especially in the night. You have no option as a health worker but just to ask the relative to fetch water for a mother, which is always a challenge. And this same water challenge has made our institutional deliveries to go down.
But government will soon construct a water reticulation facility using the Constituency Development Fund, CDF.
We released money for CDF to look at the water reticulation system at Shifwankula Health Center. There is a very big water problem, and this is because most of the time they try to sink a borehole. This area has a lot of dry boreholes. So what we felt was that water can be moved from the Shifwankula Primary School or Secondary School and then taken to the clinic. And so we released a total of 100,000 kwacha that we felt that would be used for the water reticulation.
The development has elected the District Health Director, Hendrik Siona.
I'm very, very excited because now I know that our facility will have water, running water, and it will actually attract even more people to come to the facility, and especially for pregnant have passion for pregnant mothers. We don't want them to deliver very far from their homes. They have their clinic here.
Trevor Luwala, Zanis News, Chiwombo District.
Government has continued to meet the demand for classroom space that was created by the free education policy. In Limulunga District, government has handed over the first ever 1x2 modern classroom block at Mulamba Community School through the Luwena Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Residents of Mulamba have thanked government for the development, stating that children used to walk between 14 to 20 kilometers per day to access education at the closest schools.
When government effected the free education policy, it brought a demand for more teachers and school infrastructure. In Luwena constituency of Western Province, government is meeting this demand by erecting school infrastructure through the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. The first ever 1x2 classroom block being handed over to Mulumba Community School is a product of the 2021 CDF.
And now that the construction of this classroom is done and we have handed it over to the community, indeed you've seen inside there isn't a single desk. There are only 2 desks that you can see there that we were using because there was absolutely nothing here. So we are going to make sure that come end of January, early February, this classroom here is fully finished. We have also invited the Ministry of Education through the DEP's office, who have also promised that they are going to work very quickly and make sure we do have a teacher, 1 or 2 teachers posted to this place.
And Limulunga Town Council Chairperson John Masie has said the UPND government is prudent to fulfill its campaign promises.
This is one of our campaign promises which we made indeed on his behalf as elected leaders. And today what we have witnessed here is a realization, a reality of what people expected. It took these children who are sitting here to walk a distance of over 10 kilometers for them to access a nearby school, which was a burden to them.
This development has brought happiness to pupils and the community, which cannot be suppressed.
Vana valona ne vanyanda likolo ne likwahule kashekule mwa mulumba manecho lwambo itabaza sikolo ni tumela kwa mulonga wolikile kubona lipira elo zaluna ba mulumba ulinona luswane inge mana amamo kuveni zolopi kakuli mwana hamo kusina sikolo akunazo lopi ni tumela kwa mulonga wotwele telezi kashekule shishamu.
And the contractor has thanked the community for its helping hand during the construction.
The community were very supportive. We sent them to go and fetch the water. They usually go and bring the water. We have progressed so well because of the support of the community.
Stella Goma reporting for Zanis in Limulunga, Western Province.
And lastly, an entrepreneur, David Ndlovu, who has ventured into producing between 850 and 1,000 bottles of 500 grams of gravy sauce per day, says his business has the potential to address the challenges of tomato wastage faced by farmers. Mr. Ndlovu, who is the founder of Vimbi's Fresh Instant Gravy, notes that his company can also create the much-needed jobs, especially with support from government. Take a look.
A youth entrepreneur in Lusaka has ventured into the production of tomato gravy sauce. David Ndlovu says tomato wastage faced by farmers due to lack of cold storage facilities prompted him to set up a company dedicated to producing tomato gravy sauce. Mr. Ndlovu says with support from government, the company has the potential to create employment for fellow youths in the country.
We have too much tomato wastage on the market, and it was just recently that the Minister of Local Government and Housing, Honorable Garin Kombo, was urging people in the communities to come up with ways of dealing with this tomato wastage we have in our country. We have so many small-scale farmers that will go to Soweto and they are products, they'll just lose out like that. So you find that our farmers are making a lot of losses. And this is a way that is going to preserve the tomatoes.
His vision is to expand the project to all the 10 provinces by setting up factories.
We want to urge government also to take this as a very, very serious project. Because remember, once this is done, this can be preserved for 3 months. So we are urging the government to come on board and support us, promote this product, and deal with this problem of tomato wastage.
And Buy Zambia founder says more players should come on board and supplement government in finding a lasting solution aimed at reducing tomato wastage by adding value to the product.
The president has repeatedly said that we need to begin to value add to these tomatoes. We have seen the cries recently. Most farmers have produced this commodity, but there's very little value addition being done. The call by the Republican president is to set up a fruit and vegetable processing plant across the country in all the 10 provinces. This is what he meant. We can't be throwing foodstuff in this fashion.
Tomato wastage has been a huge challenge to the farmers as they have been losing out on income. Zanis reports in Lusaka.
Interesting item there. As we end the news, we look at the top stories once again. Gender Equality and Women's Participation Initiative launched. Kasama traders start receiving marketeer booster loans. Ministry of Health to hold annual conference on virus-related diseases. And lastly, Chiwombo Council sets aside funds for borehole at Fuankula Health Center. We end the news just there. My name is Amos Zulu. Bye for now.